my loves, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new. Hi, hello, my name is Loey, and today I was feeling a little bit stuck on what I wanted to film because I've wanted to tell some personal paranormal stories for a while, but I've said a few times I don't really want to talk about paranormal stories of my own in this house. I've already had a lot of really bizarre experiences here, which freak me out. If you want to know more about them, I've been tweeting about them kind of live as they happen, but I don't want to tell the full story, and actually Christian wants to collab with me on that video, so we're kind of waiting until my office space is set up. So I don't really want to talk about any like scary personal experiences in this house, but I do want to talk about something that's been happening I guess for the last few months, and it's a good paranormal story, I guess you could say. It gives me like chills up and down my body every time that I think about it. And it's kind of just one of those things where it's like, if you don't believe in ghosts, or if you're really scared of ghosts and you're scared of the afterlife and you're scared of like spirits and all of that, I think this is such like, these are two really great stories of mine from my family around me, who again is filled with skeptics, filled with people who don't really talk about this kind of stuff, because both of these stories are pretty like serious, I guess you could say. So I'm gonna start out by just going ahead and saying my dad has been visiting my family a lot. If you don't know, my dad passed away about 1.5 years ago, which is crazy. And yeah, he was my best friend. He is my best friend. I live in his house now because I've always wanted to live here. Since moving here, I've felt this sense of calm and this sense of peace and this sense of being really close with my dad. And when I'm away, I'll notice really light things will happen to me all the time. Like, I will travel with items that belong to him no matter what. I always have something that belonged to my dad like kind of on hand with me at all times. Or if I'm at my apartment in LA, I have some things that were his there. I'll always like see little like blue flashes of light around them, and I think that's a good thing. And I'll always just feel him with me. But I was very close with my dad. I would say that we were, you know, we were just really close, and he was really close to my brother too, but he wasn't very close with my family when he passed away. He and my mom were divorced. It was a very new divorce. They were not really on great terms at the time. They kind of bounced back and forth between being friends and not being friends and all that kind of stuff. So as a result of that, he wasn't very close with like my mom's side of the family, and most of his family has passed away. He only has 2 living relatives. One of them is his stepmother, is well into her 90s, and she doesn't fully know who he is or who we are anymore, so I haven't really spoken to her very much. And then his sister, weirdly, not even blood related to his stepmother, has early onset Alzheimer's, and has since she was like in her 50s. So yeah, that was pretty much it. Like, my brother and I were really it for my dad. I'm gonna do this in chronological order because it makes the most sense to me. But these stories, like, they're sad because they're followed by not so great things, but they make me so happy because I just know this is exactly who my dad was, and this is exactly what he would do, you know what I mean? Even if he wasn't necessarily really close to their family. Like, I don't know. Anyways, I'll get into that in a minute. But so I have mentioned a couple of times on here that I have a family member with breast cancer. I haven't said who it is because you guys have never met her. You probably never will meet her. I keep my family very, 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 very private for 1,000,010 reasons. I keep most of my friends, like, even if you watch like right now my Bora Bora vlogs, like my friend Michelle is maybe on camera like twice per video, if that, and I never like show her, you know, I'm very like quiet and private. I don't post a lot of my life, and that's just because there is a lot that's like really sacred to me, and I just like to keep it personal. So I was not very close with this family member for about 5 years. She was my and is my godmother. We were very, very close in the past, and just life got in the way and we weren't that close anymore. So when my dad passed away, she was the first person to reach out, and she was the first person to ask what she could do, and she drove like 18 hours to be with me for his funeral and all of that, and she was just the best. And ever since then, we've kind of mended our relationship and let bygones be bygones and all that kind of stuff. So we've been kind of like talking more and more, and one day we're in the car just like driving to actually one of her chemo appointments, or maybe it was back from one of her chemo appointments, and she says to me like, I really want to talk to you or your mom or your brother about this, and I feel like you're the most open, like you would be the most like receptive to this information, and you won't think I'm just saying it, but your dad told me I had breast cancer. And I immediately just like chills all over my body, and I was like, what do you mean like he told you that you have breast cancer? She said that after she came back from the funeral, basically, she works a full-time job, she has a lot of responsibilities, and she had noticed a lump in her breast and hadn't gotten it checked out. Just because, like, why would she have breast cancer? You know what I mean? Like, why would anyone have breast cancer? That's what you think. It's like, she's told me about the statistics, and it's like literally 1 in 8 women will have breast cancer in their lifetime. It's crazy. So she had noticed the lump in her breast, but she hadn't gotten it checked out. She said something that really stood out to me because it happened to me too. And I don't really know if I've ever talked about it online. I made this really long, like hour-long video where I told the entire story of the day that my dad died, and I filmed it, I edited it like back in September of last year, and I never uploaded it because I just don't know if I want it online. But in that video, I talked about how I would see my dad 24/7 after he passed away. I would see him, if there was like an older gentleman in front of me, no matter their race, no matter their age, no matter their height, I would see my dad for 2 seconds. I would look away, I would look back, and he would be gone. And I thought it was like my brain trying to find him, if that makes any sense. But my family member with breast cancer told me that she saw him everywhere. She would be driving the car down the street and she would see him like crossing the road in front of her. She would look down, look back up, and there wouldn't be anyone there. It wasn't like she was seeing him in people. It was like she was seeing him all of the time. She would see him walking past her on the street. I literally have chills. She would see him like in front of her at like a restaurant, you know what I mean? Like she would literally see him everywhere she went. It was the craziest thing in the entire world, and she kept thinking to herself like, that is so weird, but she didn't want to say anything, of course, because why, you know, that's too much right after someone passes away. It's too sad, it's too scary, it's too real. And so she kind of ignored it, and she started waking up, and she would see him for 2 seconds. It would be like she would wake up, she would look in the corner of the room, and there would be my dad, just like not menacing, he was just there. And she would immediately have this thought right after he would like disappear, like right after she would see him, right after he would disappear, she would have this thought in her head where she was like, go to the doctor, go to the doctor, go to the doctor. And it was like he was telling her, go to the doctor. And she would think to herself, this is so weird, maybe I need to go to the doctor, like maybe I'm not, maybe something's wrong, like whatever. So she keeps pushing it off, keeps pushing it off, keeps pushing it off. And one day she walks from her bedroom, and I can see this in my head because I know the way that her house looks. She walks from her bedroom towards the living room, and she sees my dad standing in the living room, blinks, he's gone. What replaces him is an image in her head. It's like she can still see in front of her, but she can see this image in her head, and it's her grandfather who had passed away of cancer. Literally makes an appointment that day, finds out that she has breast cancer, and it's stage 3. She'd had it for like a year. If she hadn't caught it by then, you know what I mean? So that was the first situation where she told me like he had told her that she had cancer, you know what I mean? And that was the first situation where I was like, I knew he was around and I knew that he was present, but that was really like, whoa, you know what I mean? Like that is so real, and that's coming from someone else, and holy freaking cow. So that happened. And I mean, it's a miracle. She's cancer free now. It's not in her lymph nodes, it's not in her blood, it's not like, as far as they know, the cancer is totally 100% gone. And like, I just think it's the most incredible thing in the entire world, and I'm so freaking grateful. And so that had happened. I wasn't really gonna get on here and tell that story or anything like that. I was just going to like, you know, let it exist in my family where it probably belonged. And then I'm gonna backtrack a little bit. So back in October, I made a video about my like saddest, realest, whatever paranormal experience. I don't know what the heck I named the video. And it was basically when Haley and I were at the Marilyn Monroe suite, and she told me like all of these messages from my dad, because Haley is like a very gifted human being, and she's so incredible. During that, one of the things I never talked about was that she told me my mom was going to have an accident in 5 months. And that is not bull. You can ask Haley that. She will tell you that. That she told me from my dad that my mom was going to have an accident in 5 months. And I was very alarmed because a lot of what Haley said was so spot on, and a lot of what she kind of said from him was so spot on. Like, she knew things that nobody but me knew, you know what I mean? And so I told my mom. I went home, I think I went back for like Thanksgiving or something, not too long after that, maybe it was Christmas, and I told her, hey mom, this happened. I know you don't really believe in psychics, I know you don't really believe in this kind of stuff, but I was told you're going to have an accident in 5 months, and not to be afraid, that you're going to be okay, that you're going to be here, you know, for a really long time, and not to be scared. And she was like, this is so bizarre that you tell me this, because 5 months ago something happened to me in my life, and I won't repeat it, but it was a very serious thing that she never really told me about. And she was like, maybe that's what it was. That's so weird. And I was like, maybe, yeah, that's, I mean, God, I hope so. And I kind of went through my life not really thinking more about it. You know what I mean? Not really ever thinking about that again. And as a lot of you guys know, my mom was in a car accident, and it was a head-on collision, and it was so severe. She really wants to talk about it, so maybe one day she'll come onto my channel and talk about it, because it was the scariest thing in the entire world. She was hit head on, the other person was going like 60, 70 miles an hour in the wrong direction with their lights off at like 5:30 in the morning. So it was a really scary situation. So of course I get that call, and it's really, like I told you guys before, it's really hard because I got that same call from the hospital and my dad passed away. But the entire time there was kind of a sense of calm. Like, my mom's boyfriend was obviously really scared, and we were really scared too, but for some reason, like, Christian and I just knew the entire time everything was going to be okay. Obviously she recovered and she's okay, and if she ever wants to come on my channel and talk about that, she definitely can. But something she told me when I went over to her house for Easter to like bring her Easter basket and stuff like that was that my dad had come to see her right before the accident. And it's weird because she's talked about it like in bits and pieces, like experiences with him so far, but this one was so weird and real, and she didn't really know how to like process it or handle it. But basically she said she was standing in the kitchen like chopping vegetables, like living her life, and she felt something come through her. That's the only way she could explain it, is like she felt like air come through her back all the way through her, and she said she went like that, like gasped like that. It's so freaky to think about, but she said that she felt something come through her, and then immediately the first thing out of her word was my dad's name. And it was like she knew he was there and he was present, and she felt very calm and very zen, and very much so like everything is okay. And this was literally a week before her accident, and nothing really had happened with him for a while. And I just think it was, again, one of those things where like he was just telling her everything is okay, everything is going to be okay. So twice now he's warned my family of events to come and things that are happening, and I think it's such like, for me and for my family, it's such like a resounding like this world is so real, and I think it's a beautiful story, and I just wanted to share it because I think it's something that's not necessarily like a TV was thrown across the room at me, you know what I mean? It's like such a good story. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. That's all I really have for you all today. I'm gonna go out to dinner with my brother, and then I'm gonna pack because I gotta go to LA in the morning. But I really wanted to film this for you guys, so I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I love you guys, and I will see you in the next video.